and just y'all on a plate of soon-to-be award-winning barbecue?
It may soon get a lot harder for terrorists and criminals to elude the FBI. A $1 billion database upgrade could stop them in their tracks, but will it also put you under Big Brother's eye? Let's bring in our justice correspondent, Kelly Arena. She's watching this story for us. So how does this database work?
Well, Wolf, the FBI database is being expanded to be able to include more records of people's physical characteristics, what the FBI calls next-generation identification.
I'm in the Dino Squad. On a beautiful beach not far away, I went to visit for a day. Got covered with some gooey ooze that changed my DNA. Now I try to act normal, keep my cool, while other kids play after school. I turn into a prehistoric hero. I'm in the Dino Squad. I'm in the Dino Squad.
Okay, so let's move over to our next subject. Jem over here. Total different look, I think, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. What we've got going on here is sort of a mix. He's sort of a hybrid combo, so he likes a mix of things. And
what does that mean? I like it.
All right, David Duchovny, starring, executive producing the new show Californication. He plays a best-selling author suffering from writer's block, and his marriage has fallen apart, and his daughter's problematic. He's struggling to get his career and life back on track. And so do we, but... Wow, you're getting a standing O here, David.
What's that?
You're getting a standing O from the crowd.
Yeah,
all three of them.
I wasn't watching the clip, but I have to say I don't think you chose the funniest clip that we have.
It was a hard one to come out on a roistering note, but
that was David, the executive producer, saying bad clip.
Let me just thank you for using the word roistering.
Okay, my pleasure.
And let me tell you that whoever's in charge of my trailer when I'm shooting always has your show on when I come in the morning.
I'm sorry to hear that as well. Okay.
Yeah.
David, I don't know how to say this. You are a special flavor for a lot of people. Your fans are very, very intense about their fanship. And
Like me, I'm one of them.
Yeah.
The thinking woman sex symbol is what Steve is trying to say.
Wow.
Well, that's fair enough. It's almost a cliche, but yeah, that's
It is
true.
a cliche, but it's still true.
And some guys like it too. But therefore, because
that's a different flavor altogether.
Well, no, but we watched the Larry Sanders Show. But therefore, the expectation levels are very high with you in a way that they're not for everybody else. What I'm saying makes sense to you?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
But was there a question in there?
No question.
Okay.
Okay, first of all, tell me.
Let me respond.
Yes.
I agree, but I feel like I have very high expectations for myself, so I don't. It doesn't really bother me in that way. But I think also coming off of a show like The X-Files, which is kind of one of the great shows on television. It's hard to figure out what to do next. It takes a little while to figure it out.
And are you guys working on a movie, an X-Files movie?
Yeah, we should be doing one soon. Yeah, we should hear about it this week. What day we're going to start shooting it? Yeah.
How do you go from the X-Files to this role? Because they are completely different.
Well, it's been 5 years, so I got to get into the gym and get in a little better shape.
Thank goodness, because we were worried about you for a little while.
Thank you.
And it's also called acting.
Yes, it is. Well, it wasn't like going from the X-Files to this. It's always, there's been quite a number of movies, television, whatever, since the X-Files, and I know that the X-Files is first and foremost in people's minds when they think of me usually. So it seems like I go from that to the next thing, but in my life and in my career and whatever artistic path I think I'm choosing, and there's been a number of things in between.
Well, and I don't think you just chose this. I mean, you were a big part of putting this show together.
I got a dial tone. quite a number of movies, television, whatever, since the X-Files, and I know that the X-Files is first and foremost in people's minds when they think of me usually. So it seems like I go from that to the next thing. But you know, in my life and in my career and whatever artistic path I think I'm choosing, and there's been a number of things in between.
Well, and I don't think you just chose this. I mean, you were a big part of putting the show together.
I got a dial tone.
No! Don't even think about it, Caruso. Not in front of all these people. Huh? But then again, I'd only need a little dino power.
And I'd like to think of a big fancy word like Steve used, but did you, I suppose you wanted to play what?
What did I say?
Okay.
What's this? Dino activity in Kittery Point. Again? Very interesting. Very interesting. But there's nothing showing up on the scanner except football players.
Prepare the truck. We're returning to Kittery Point.
You wanted to play a character that was... Oh. That's what we're hearing.
He refuses to answer your question.
Actually, he didn't like it.
He said, unless you people ask me a question, I cannot answer.
Do you know what was funny, though? It reminded me the last time he was here. He was on remote. And we started asking... question. At some point, he interrupts the three of us
to say, "Can I answer?
May I answer your question?
May I, the interview subject, speak?"
What was the role he did where he played he dressed up in a woman? Do you remember that?
Ask him. He's back.
Oh, I couldn't remember.
He's
I don't want to
back.
ask him about that. I was just trying to ask you guys. Okay, go back to like putting this show together.
Well, because you play sort of a sleazy guy. I was trying to think of...
Well, because you play sort of a sleazy guy.
I was trying to think of a fancier word like Steve came up with, and you obviously wanted to do this character.
I'm with David on that. I'm with David on that answer. David Duchovny, why don't you love us? We're having technical difficulties, so ladies and gentlemen, as you well realize, so we do want to mention that he's...
The database was created in 1995 as a crime-fighting tool and has never been far from controversy. This intensified in 2004 when a law was passed allowing the DNA of innocent people to be retained by the police. Now, anyone who is simply arrested and not necessarily cautioned or convicted has their genetic code entered into the database.
What are you doing here?
I got a call from Agent Scully. She's at her apartment completely beside herself.
Over what?
Mulder somehow got hold of a computer password to a database filled with secrets.
What kind of secrets?
Names of people the federal government is tracking using the U.S. Census. Names of people who have a certain genetic profile. It's the same information he believes the shooter at the White House knew about. Also the guy that took you hostage.
You said Scully was upset.
That Mulder was going to act on this information in some way that...
In December, it was ruled that this contravenes the European Convention on Human Rights, but still the database keeps growing.
We think the DNA database is really out of control. It was set up to keep the DNA of convicted criminals, people convicted of serious offences, but now it contains about 5 million people's profiles.
From ever seeing the light of day, just like you did once before, Agent Doggett. That's what I think.
Agent Mulder, I don't even know what that information is.
Well, you're about to. along with a lot of other people. And learn that they've been targeted because of their genetic profiles for abduction and replacement by alien facsimiles. What do you say we start off with the Washington Post, huh?
You believe whatever you want, but that information's never gonna make it out of here.
What are you gonna do, shoot me?